You can have a large kitchen, brand new appliances, and expensive countertops, and it can still look cheap. That's the uncomfortable truth most homeowners don't see until it's time to sell. Because cheap in real estate isn't about price, it's about perception. It's about proportion, cohesion, finish quality, lighting, alignment, and detail. In 2026, buyers are visually trained. They scroll through thousands of listing photos. They tour model homes. They recognize subtle differences instantly. And the smallest design missteps can downgrade the entire kitchen in seconds. Today, we're breaking down 10 kitchen features that make homes look cheap, why they have that effect, and how to avoid quietly sabotaging the most valuable room in your house. Let's start with the first and most obvious offender: mismatched appliances. Stainless steel refrigerator, black range, white dishwasher. Different brands, different handle styles, different finishes. Even if each appliance works perfectly, inconsistency fragments the visual flow. Kitchens feel expensive when they look cohesive. When finishes clash, the room feels pieced together over time instead of intentionally designed. Buyers don't see function first, they see imbalance. Second, visible laminate countertop seams and thin edge profiles. Laminate isn't automatically cheap-looking. But when seams are obvious, edges are hollow, and corners chip easily, the illusion breaks. Thin profiles without weight or depth lack presence. Countertops occupy massive visual real estate. When they look lightweight or poorly finished, the entire kitchen loses credibility. Third, fluorescent box lighting or harsh, blue-toned overhead bulbs. Lighting shapes mood instantly. Cold, flickering, outdated fixtures cast unflattering shadows and flatten surfaces. Even high-quality cabinets look dull under bad lighting. Cheap lighting makes expensive materials feel synthetic. Fourth, poorly aligned cabinet doors and drawers. Slightly crooked doors, uneven spacing, gaps that don't match. These small alignment issues scream rushed installation. Buyers may not consciously measure alignment, but their brains register it. Precision equals quality, sloppiness equals budget. Fifth, overcrowded open shelving. Open shelves can work beautifully when curated, but cluttered shelves packed with mismatched dishes, plastic containers, and random decor instantly cheapen the aesthetic. Visible storage requires discipline. Without it, the kitchen feels chaotic. Sixth, plastic outlet covers and poorly placed electrical outlets. Bright white plastic covers on darker backsplashes disrupt visual continuity. Outlets installed randomly across focal areas break symmetry. Small interruptions add up quickly. Seventh, fake stone or low-quality P-LAN stick backsplash. From a distance, it might look acceptable. Up close, texture inconsistency and visible seams reveal the truth. Buyers look closely in kitchens, they touch surfaces, they lean in. Eighth, short cabinets that stop awkwardly below the ceiling. That gap above cabinets collects dust and feels unfinished. Full-height cabinetry adds drama and polish. Short cabinets with empty space above feel builder basic. Ninth, mismatched hardware styles. Modern bar pulls mixed with ornate knobs. Different finishes on drawers versus cabinets. Hardware is kitchen jewelry. When it's inconsistent, the space feels confused. 10th, exposed clutter on countertops. Too many small appliances, paper towel holders in awkward spots. Visible cords, dish racks permanently on display. Even beautiful kitchens lose impact when surfaces are overcrowded. Now let's go deeper into why these features create a cheap perception. Cheap doesn't mean low cost. Cheap means inconsistent. Cheap means unfinished. Cheap means unintentional. When design lacks cohesion, the brain interprets it as lower quality even if materials are mid-range. Buyers in 2026 are highly detail-oriented. They zoom in on listing photos, they look at trim transitions. They analyze hardware finishes, they check lighting warmth. A kitchen that feels cohesive builds trust. A kitchen that feels pieced together builds doubt. And doubt reduces offer strength. Let's talk about cabinet interiors. Cheap melamine interiors with visible staple marks feel flimsy. Even if doors are solid, weak interiors undermine perception. Now consider uneven caulking around sinks and backsplashes. Sloppy silicone lines look rushed. Clean finish work signals craftsmanship. Another cheap-looking feature is overuse of glossy surfaces without balance. High-gloss cabinets, glossy tile, glossy countertops altogether reflect too much light and show every imperfection. Let's address flooring transitions. Abrupt changes between kitchen flooring and adjacent rooms break visual flow. Continuous flooring feels expensive, fragmented flooring feels patched. Now think about island proportions. Tiny islands in large kitchens look underwhelming. Oversized islands in small kitchens feel cramped. Poor proportion makes a kitchen feel poorly planned. Another subtle downgrade is visible cabinet fillers that are too wide. When filler strips dominate edges of cabinetry, they reveal stock adjustments rather than custom precision. And then there's trim inconsistency, crown molding that doesn't align with ceiling height, baseboards that don't match adjacent rooms. Small details compound visually. Now zoom out and see the bigger pattern. Expensive-looking kitchens share certain traits: aligned elements, balanced proportions, layered lighting, cohesive finishes, minimal clutter, full-height cabinetry. Quality hardware, thoughtful storage. Cheap-looking kitchens lack those fundamentals. Here's the financial reality. Kitchens heavily influence perceived home value. If a beer walks into a kitchen that feels cheap, even if square footage is generous, they adjust expectations downward for the entire house. Imagine two identical homes. One has cohesive appliances, soft lighting, aligned cabinetry, minimal clutter, and full-height cabinets. The other has mismatched finishes, harsh lighting, visible seams, cluttered counters, and awkward gaps above cabinets. Even if renovation budgets were similar, the first home commands stronger emotional response. Emotion drives competition, competition drives price. Now let's talk about color temperature consistency. Mixing cool white lighting with warm pendants creates visual confusion. Consistency creates harmony. Another cheap signal is visible where in high-traffic areas chipped cabinet corners, peeling laminate edges, loose handles. Maintenance reflects care. Here's the most important principle. Expensive-looking kitchens aren't necessarily expensive to build. They are precise, they are intentional, they are edited. They eliminate visual noise. They repeat finish strategically, they maintain alignment. They control lighting carefully, they hide clutter. You don't need exotic marble to elevate perception. You need cohesion, you need proportion, you need finish discipline. Before evaluating your kitchen, ask, are finishes consistent? Is lighting layered and warm? Are cabinets aligned? Is hardware cohesive? Are countertops seamless? Is storage concealed? Are gaps minimized? Because cheap perception doesn't come from price tag. It comes from detail neglect, and detail neglect costs money when you sell. Buyers don't say this looks cheap out loud. They say we'd have to update the kitchen, and update equals negotiation. Eliminate visual noise, unify finishes, align elements. Control clutter, layer lighting, extend cabinetry, refine details. Because in kitchens, luxury isn't loud, it's controlled. And control is what separates average from elevated. Make those adjustments and your kitchen won't just look better. It will feel more valuable, and in real estate, feeling valuable is everything. And here's where it gets even more important. Buyers don't separate the kitchen from the rest of the house. If the kitchen looks cheap, the entire home feels lower quality, even if the bedrooms are spacious, even if the bathrooms are updated, even if the exterior is stunning. The kitchen is the emotional anchor. If it fails visually, it drags everything down with it. Let's go deeper into additional kitchen features that quietly cheapen the entire space. One major offender is visible cabinet toe kick damage or mismatched toe kick panels. When the recessed base under cabinets is scuffed, poorly painted, or a different shade than the cabinetry, it signals neglect. It's a small strip of material, but it runs the entire perimeter of the kitchen. Continuity matters. Another cheap signal is poorly chosen grout color. Bright white grout with dark tile and look dramatic at first, but if it stains quickly, it creates a dirty appearance even when clean. On the other hand, harsh contrasting grout in busy patterns makes the backsplash look chaotic rather than refined. Subtle grout selection supports elegance. Let's talk about sink choice. Drop-in sinks with visible metal rims often look less refined than undermount sinks with clean edges. The lip around a drop-in sink interrupts countertop flow and collects grime. Buyers see maintenance and dated style. Now consider faucet scale. Tiny faucets on large farmhouse sinks look disproportionate. Oversized commercial-style faucets in small kitchens look theatrical. Poor scale disrupts balance instantly. Another feature that cheapens kitchens is visible refrigerator gaps. If the fridge doesn't fit properly in its cavity, leaving empty inches on either side, it feels like an afterthought. Proper paneling or trim kits elevate the look dramatically. Let's examine cabinet crown molding again, but this time from a proportion perspective. Thin, undersized crown molding on tall cabinets looks inadequate. No crown molding at all leaves a sharp, unfinished transition to the ceiling. Well-proportioned trim creates architectural presence. Now think about color inconsistency between cabinet finish and wall paint undertones. Cool gray cabinets paired with warm beige walls create subtle tension. Even if the clash is slight, it reduces harmony. Another downgrade comes from visible range hood duct covers that don't match cabinetry or wall finishes. Exposed metal ducts in a non-industrial kitchen feel incomplete. Let's address plastic laminate cabinet interiors with visible shelf pins and unfinished edges. When buyers open cabinets and see flimsy interiors, their perception shifts. Interiors matter as much as exteriors. Now consider island overhang support. Thick metal corbels that look decorative but feel bulky can cheapen modern designs. Clean, hidden support structures feel more refined. Another subtle issue is cluttered backsplash areas around windows. If tile stops awkwardly or trim pieces don't align cleanly with window casing, it feels rushed. Let's talk about cabinet spacing symmetry. When one cabinet door is significantly narrower than others because of filler adjustments, it disrupts rhythm. Repetition creates luxury. Irregularity creates budget compromise. Now zoom out again and understand the psychology. Cheap-looking kitchens are rarely the result of one catastrophic mistake. They're the result of many small inconsistencies. Inconsistent lighting temperature, inconsistent hardware finish, inconsistent trim alignment, inconsistent spacing, inconsistent material transitions. Luxury equals consistency. Consistency equals confidence. Confidence equals higher offers. In 2026, buyers expect kitchens to feel curated even at moderate price points. Social media has raised visual standards. Even entry-level homes are compared to professionally staged listings online. That means your kitchen doesn't compete only with your neighbors. It competes with every photo buyers scroll through before walking in. And when they walk in, reality must match expectation. Here's another important layer: maintenance visibility, peeling caulk around sinks, grease-stained cabinets near ranges, loose handles, scratched laminate edges. These signs of wear make the kitchen feel cheaper regardless of original quality. Before listing or even before renovating, walk into your kitchen and evaluate it like a beer would. Look at alignment, look at lighting warmth, look at hardware consistency, look at gaps and transitions. Look at clutter, look at proportion, because most cheap-looking kitchens aren't cheap because of budget. They're cheap because of lack of refinement. Refinement is free when you plan for it. Refinement costs thousands when you ignore it. The difference between average and elevated isn't exotic materials. It's discipline. Discipline in color selection. Discipline in proportion. Discipline in storage. Discipline in editing visual noise. Discipline in maintaining finishes. You don't need a six-figure remodel to avoid a cheap-looking kitchen. You need cohesion, you need intentionality. You need clean execution. When every element supports the next, the space feels expensive. When elements fight each other, the space feels fragmented. And fragmentation is what buyers interpret as low value. Remember this, buyers don't analyze kitchens with spreadsheets. They react emotionally. If the kitchen feels polished, they stretch their budget. If it feels cheap, they pull back, and that pullback is measured in thousands. So remove the visual noise, unify your finish. Align your details, control your lighting, edit your clutter. Refine your proportions, because in kitchens, perception is price. And small details determine perception. Fix the details and the entire room rises. Ignore them and even a large kitchen can look small in value.